Kwaku, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Morning, Johnny Hughes.
Yes, sir. Johnny Hughes here. Kwaku, good to have you. Kwaku, we are here.
Pleasure to be here.
Kwaku, we are hearing figures. 5 million people, free SHS. It's been in commercials, etc. What do you know?
Well, thank you very much. And the name is Factor Ghana. And what we do really is to monitor the conversations, both political, media, everything moving around to establish the fact. Essentially, we are protecting information integrity. And the free SHS has been one of the topical issues lately based to the elections. So we're looking at the data. Currently, the government and the NPP has adverts moving around, some quoting 5.1, some quoting 5.7 million people. The president has a different figure. The education minister at some point presents a different figure. Then the presidential candidate of the NPP also has another figure, things like that. So what is really the number of beneficiaries for the free SHS so that we can establish the fact? Then we realize that if you look at the budget statement that the finance ministers over the period present to Parliament, every year they tell us the number of students who have been enrolled into the free SHS program. And they do this consistently, adding the figures that the government is spending on those numbers. And so we decided that, okay, this perhaps could be the most credible source of information, especially when we were releasing this data, there was no cause for anybody to challenge them or no cause for them to massage the data, so to say. So from 2017-2018, the mid-year budget of 2018 will take the data. Mid-year budget of 2019 will take the data. Mid-year budget throughout up to the latest mid-year budget review that they have presented. And indeed, it gives us the most verifiable version of the data. When we put it together, we had a little over 3 million and not the 5.1, 5.7 or over the 5 million beneficiaries the government and the NPP campaigns are saying.
Now, the conversation then is that if government, by its own budget and by its own proposals, has been able to put out these figures, why then are they quoting contrary figures out there? Maybe there's something you don't know that we also don't know, which the government knows. Yes?
Well, I think that in our report, we also try to get into this.
Kweku, if you get closer to your phone for me, it will be fine, because you sound far away.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes, sir.
Great. Sure. So we get into that argument in our report. There's a point in the finance minister's statement where he tries to make an argument of cumulative, calculation to say that, over the period, for instance, if somebody enters school in Form 1 and is enrolled, they say the person does not cease to be a student after a new batch of students coming. So the person moves to Form 2.
Right.
The person moves to Form 3.
That's correct.
Whilst they are moving to Form 3, other new batches of people are coming through. So the finance minister at some point in his statement, in his reading of the mid-year budget statement, says, we have about 5.17 million people who cumulatively might have benefited from that PSHS program. But that does not translate to mean over 5 million people or children have benefited. When somebody is enrolled in the program at Form 1, they are one beneficiary, or that person is one beneficiary. You don't count you again as a beneficiary when you go to Form 2 or you go to Form 3. You are one person. Indeed, when we spoke with experts in this education space, including Africa Education with Kofi Asari, he explained that, look, if somebody enters the program, they assign that person a code, and a unique number. It's even the reason why when you go in at a border, you can't change to become a day student, or if you enter as a day student, you can't become a border, because
you have a unique code.
When they give you a unique number, a unique budget is assigned to you, they can't change it. So for each unique number, we don't count you 3 times or 4 times, whatever. You are one beneficiary and you are counted as one person. So this is where the government was trying to be smart to pull through and say over 5 million people have benefited. But really, that is not true. The figures are that over 3 million. This is from the mid-year budget statement that the finance minister since 2018, 2017 have been reading and presenting to Parliament, the House of Records.
Kweku, I'm sure that it took a very long period, a painstaking period for you to arrive at this conclusion to settle the dust on this matter. Walk us through, what did you have to do to be able to get this information for us? Conk.
Well, on the contrary, this was not a very complex work. It was just a matter of discussion and thinking through and seeing where we can get the data from. So initially, our intro to this was just to say, why is the government quoting different figures for the beneficiaries of free SHS? So why is somebody saying 5.7? Why is somebody saying 5.1? Then that gives us an indication that they're not even sure of the exact figure, right, of who the beneficiaries are. Then the question is, what therefore will be the exact figure for the beneficiaries of free SHS? We attempted to say, okay, maybe let's go to the free SHS Secretariat to say if they can give us the data. But then again, we are also conscious of the political ramifications or, interest at play. Around this time, if you go to the free SHS Secretariat requesting for the beneficiaries of free SHS, they are likely to give you the data that they want you to hear or something that is consistent with what the political campaigns are saying. But we needed to pick an independent data, a data in which we can say this is free from the politics, because at the time of its presentation, nothing like political adverts or elections were at stake. Then we say, okay, wait a minute. The finance minister presents figures on this every year. This is often even presented in a way for the Parliament House to applaud them, seeing that a number of people have been enrolled. These are people they will add and say, ordinarily, most of them or some of them wouldn't have been able to enroll in senior high school but for the free SHS program. And the finance minister's data, to a large extent, can be, the budget statement, to a large extent, can be accepted as a very credible record, especially when there's no interest or reason to lie to the figures. And also when they are presenting it to Parliament, on the floor of Parliament, the House of Records. And so we went through and we said, look, media budget review gives you a good picture of what happens across the year. So then let's go into it. So 2018 media budget statement gives you the figure for the 2017-2018 academic year. 2019 media budget statement gives you a picture on the 2018 to 2019 academic year. And it goes on like that until the most recent one in 2024, which was giving us the 2023-2024 academic year. And when we tabulated it, and which is what you see in the flyer that moves around,
right,
it is 3.1 million people on there.
So now, would you, as a fact checker, advise government to pull down that advertorial and give the people of Ghana the real figures, as it were?
Yes, for the importance of the essence of what data means, right, and what correct records means for these public education. I would recommend that government review its data and perhaps correct the records. It would help all of us. I've heard people say, well, what is the fact? 5 million, 3 million, so what changes? After all, it's still millions of people who are being benefited. You people, you stress too much yourself on these matters. What is really the essence? Well, the essence is that data is important, and accurate data is extremely important for any conversations we want to have towards development. Look, data is today seen as the fuel for the global economy. If you don't have accurate data, chances are you can't even get your development accurate. Today we talk about AI and things like that, and it is just machines who are learning from data. Secondly, the argument is that if indeed if the data is 3 million, government is quoting 5 million, chances are government have spent on 5 million, which therefore we should be asking government, where is the 2 million or thereabouts, and where did you put those monies? It raises questions about government expenditure on the free SHS, so to say. That if it indeed is 3 million and you are quoting 5 million, then it means that you have expended on 5 million. It means that we cannot account for some 2 million people in whose name monies have been spent on.
What they are saying is a very serious matter, that we have perhaps inflated the figures so we could spend on non-existent figures. That's a very serious thing to say, Kweku.
Yes, I am just again drawing on the data to say,
right,
if it is not if really government is insistent on 5 million, and the records from the budget review statement of the finance minister is telling us it is 3 million, it raises questions. Because expenditure is tied to this free SHS program. We are spending a lot of money. So data is extremely important, and so the government will be minded to go over its records and then review the data and perhaps correct it. It will really help us in the public discourse and also for what it means for the records of our country.
Kweku Asante, thank you very much. Kweku Asante Krobia is a lead fact checker, Fact Check Ghana, and regards to Rabiu and the rest of the team.
Thank you. I will send the regards to them.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So, Helen, there you have it.
Indeed.
It's not 5 million, as we've been told.
It's not 5 million, as we've been told. And the how Kweku Asante Krobia breaks it down makes it quite clear to follow. And if you enter free senior high school, you go as one person, you are one beneficiary with a unique code or a unique identifying number. So it's not that every time you progress, then we count you again. You go to Form 2, then we count you as another
Once you enter,
beneficiary. You've entered, you are one person, you are one beneficiary. I also like that he touched on, people saying, well, what's the big fuss? 5 million, 3 million? But no, what that means is that there's some 2 million. If that government is saying monies or 2 million students are monies are being spent on, and that could have ramifications, for our pockets or our purse as a nation. We don't have money to be giving wrong figures and quoting wrong figures. And also for government, of course, they would want that figure to be bloated, to seem or appear bigger than it actually is. So I can understand why they will be going with that figure of 5 million as against 3 million. But 3.1 million is no mean number at all. And that's also a good indication of the free SHS policy. And government must just give us the real and right figures.
But why would government want to inflate the figures? That's the conversation. What will be the motive? What will be the incentive? What will be
we see it across the board. When it comes to roads, then we'll say we have constructed such and such roads. You go into the figures and some of it is reconstructing or whatever. It's not a new road per se. But governments past and present will do that. They will bloat figures, inflate numbers, make it look better than it actually is, especially in an election year where they are canvassing for votes. But we cannot accept that. We have to protect the integrity of the information that we are all
one of the conversations I had with my good friend who is now late, Dr. Daniel Achema Boaji, right? He was the spokesperson of finance for the government at the time. He was member of parliament in the Ashanti region somewhere. I had a conversation with him about free SHS. At the time, the government was quoting 100,000 beneficiaries of NAPCO. And I said, look, Chairman, what the finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta said in parliament was 97,373. So you cannot be quoting 100,000 to me when in fact the beneficiaries are 97,373, because each one of them is paid about 700 Ghana cedis. Multiply that by 100,000 cedis, the bill is different.
That's right.
And then multiply 700 Ghana cedis by 97,373, the bill is different.
Correct.
You cannot approximate when you're actually spending on each head. So 97,370, almost 3,000 people. How do you then round up the figure and tell me it's 100,000? So where does that money go? It's the same question that Kweku Asante Krobia of the Fact Check Ghana is asking, that you can't round it up. 371 is 371. It's not 350 or 320 because it's or 380 or 390 or 400 because it's close to the number. You can't approximate.
Because the numbers have consequences.
They do. In this particular instance, there are financial implications, there's a taxpayer's burden, so you cannot approximate it. So why would a figures man like Dr. Bawumia, who worked at the vice president, who works as a vice president and from the Bank of Ghana, why would he do a thing like that? Maybe he did not review the adverts that had been made in his honor, but I mean, the people close to him, my own cousin Evron Hughes, Dr. Gideon Boako, why would anybody do that?
And I mean, look at the implications of that. Now you've been fact-checked.
It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. And even that 3 million, and I said that's no mean figure at all. I don't know why government thinks that they have to inflate it. 3 million is a good number.
3 million in excess. If you say 5 million, it means that you are talking about a whole batch of I mean, more than 1 million people who have not gone through free SHS. And you insist that they have gone through free SHS. You can't approximate student numbers because it has financial implications. What are you talking to me about? You approximate them like they are some gari or some olunka of maize that you are putting together or awumi. You can't do that.
From 3 million to 5 million, that's a big jump.
That's a big deal.
Big deal.
Let's say it's even 4 million that the government is quoting. So that 1 million. 1 million students. Each person gets a code. They are fed, right? They are put in a boarding house or day school, right? They have accommodation, textbooks, daily feeding, 1 hot meal a day. Do you know how much money that is and how much money could have been siphoned through that means alone? What are you talking to me about?
And Johnny, just before we even wrap up on this particular free SHS conversation, one thing I've said is we look at the numbers of students that are entering free SHS, how many actually exit? How many actually exit? Because we have to find out why many will enter and for whatever reason will not, go all the way. Things happen. But that figure is a figure that we need to explore. We have to have an honest conversation about free SHS. Glamorizing the situation, inflating the figures, does nothing to address the core issues, the quality of the free SHS, the food.
Well, good thing is that we are here to fact check. And Alex King sent me this from the Ghana Fire Service. Circle O'Donnell, you know where the hotel was built, the O'Donnell, it's been turned into Venice and
high rise.
Yeah, high rise. You had the ship on it and boats.
You could go on like a gondola.
You could do regatta, everything on it. Yeah, indeed. $43 million US, everything. Yeah, it just got bent. Yeah, so. Is there?
You didn't take advantage when
you could have gone there.
Sunrise on the there. Mobile edition.
Yeah, mobile edition on the water. Yeah, water edition. Aqua edition. Charlie, we have gone through it. The
Luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years.